Welcome to some new r/petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Pay to Print. Many years ago, I worked for an organization providing frontline customer service. It was a decent place to work, but our manager had lots of rules. One of the rules was that we could not do any personal printing with the printers at work. If we did, we were expected to pay 50 cents per page for black and white printing and $1 per page for color. I'm not sure who made this rule, but the manager was constantly reminding us. Our desks were not assigned, meaning any day you could be sitting at any desk, depending on your assigned task for the day. One day I was interviewing for another job within the organization, but at another location. Prior to the interview, the manager of the other location asked me if I'd mind printing a copy of my resume and bringing it with me as their printers were down for the day. I said no problem and figured I'd print it at work since it was work related. I was sitting at a desk that did not have a printer at it. The closest printer was located between my manager's desk and an employee desk, so I printed it and stood up to go get it. Before I go to the printer, my manager got there first. My print job went ahead of hers. When she saw what I had printed, she said, "This looks like a personal print job." I explained it wasn't, but she disagreed and said since it had nothing to do with our day-to-day work, I had to pay $2 for 4 black and white pages. I begrudgingly paid up. I asked her what happened to the money, and she said she always put it in the Christmas party fund. Alright. A few weeks later, I was sitting at the desk with the printer at it. It was lunchtime, and everyone except my manager agreed to go to a nearby restaurant for lunch. I walked out of our building and realized I forgot my wallet, so I quickly ran back in to get it. When I got to my desk, I could hear the printer going. I was curious about what was being printed, as it was spitting out page after page. I quickly glanced at the pile and saw at least 100 pages printed in color, announcing a Sweet 16 for Trista, our manager's daughter. It very obviously belonged to my manager. My manager came out of the bathroom a moment later and seemed shocked to see me standing there. I picked up the pile and passed it to her and told her our Christmas party fund was going to be getting a big boost. She said nothing but looked really uncomfortable. A few weeks later, our district manager made his quarterly visit. He talked about the upcoming Christmas party and how excited he was for it. I decided it was time for some petty revenge. I raised my hand and said, "Just wondering how much we've accumulated this year for the Christmas party from print jobs." He looked so confused and asked me to explain what I meant. So I told him our manager's rule. He got really quiet and said he'd have to review this. The next day, my manager sent an email saying the printing rule was something she was misinformed about and would be abolished immediately. Me, being the little disturber I am, hit reply all and asked what would happen to the already accumulated funds. Someone else said we should have a nice healthy fund for a pizza lunch, and everyone agreed. The next day, I hear my manager ordering 10 pizzas for lunch. Also used her own personal credit card to pay for it all. Do I think she was pocketing the printing money all along? Absolutely. But it was fun making her sweat and then having to spend nearly $300 the next day to make up for it. The next story is called Silly Job. I work in technical theater as an assistant stage manager. There are a couple of theaters in the area, but the tech community is rather small, so we all know each other. I work for a smaller theater, but I know a few people who work at the largest theater that hosts the traveling Broadway shows. These shows are really popular and hard to get tickets for if you aren't a season ticket holder. And season tickets can run about $1,000 per seat for 7 shows. Tickets are normally about $150 for an individual show, but can go up significantly if they know the show is going to be popular. The husband of one of the directors that I work with is on the board of the theater and sometimes can score good seats at a discounted rate. This season, Aladdin is coming to town, a show my future mother-in-law has been dying to see. She asked me if I could possibly get her and a friend a seat so they could go see it. I called in a favor with my director and she managed to get 2 prime seats. Since her husband is on the board, she gets a discount, so the tickets ended up only being $75 for the 2 seats. I reserved them in my name, with the understanding that they will pay for the tickets. Fast forward a couple of weeks and she invites me and my fiancé over for dinner. Dinner goes well, and I end up in a conversation with my future sister-in-law and my future father-in-law about housework. I don't know why. He is a teacher, and she is married to an accountant. So she said that her and her husband tried to split the chores 50-50. She thought that was fine, and asked how my fiancé and I would do it. We don't currently live together. I said, probably the same, 50-50. Sister agreed, but mother gave me the stink eye. I asked if there was something wrong, and she said, well, fiancé works full-time and you don't, so I don't see how that's fair. I told her that I do work full-time, just not at a 9-to-5 like fiancé. She then laughed at me and said what I did wasn't real work and that it was just a silly side gig and that maybe if I got a real job I would know what it is like to really work. Then she changed the subject. This set me off because I am very proud of the work I do. It may not be a 9-to-5, but I love my job. It is my dream job and I do make enough to cover my expenses. It actually takes a certain amount of skill to properly stage manage a full-scale production. So, enter pettiness. I called up the box office for the large theater and told them to cancel the tickets. They were in my name, so they gladly cancelled them. I then texted my future mother-in-law and told her if she thinks my job isn't real, then the side perks aren't real, so the tickets were cancelled. I then shut off my phone. The next day, when I turn on my phone, I see several missed calls and about a dozen texts from her. She is fuming because her friend is coming into town specifically to see this play. I called back and told her she might still be able to get seats if she called the box office. She ended up getting seats, but they cost her $150 each and they weren't as good. Hopefully, she's learned not to insult someone and still expect to benefit from them. The last story is called No Leave. I work with a large organization having multiple branches in every state across the country. I'm the head of one such branch. My boss, the regional manager, controls around 15 such branches in a region cluster. During August this year, I asked my boss for a 5-day leave for September, which she promptly granted. I then informed HR about it, suggesting to temporarily arrange for somebody to run my branch for the week. This was required, as due to some corporate directives, some of the branches, including mine, could not run without a branch head being physically present in the office. And enabling someone from inside the branch to substitute for me wasn't possible due to technicalities. HR assured me there was plenty of time to arrange for my temporary substitute, so I didn't think much about it, since it was his job to take care of in cases of leaves. I didn't imagine it would be crucial to get the leave approved formally, in writing, because before this, nobody had ever faced something like what I was about to experience. Come the last working day before I go on my leave, I asked our HR who would take care of my branch in my absence. He flatly stated that there was no one available in the region cluster who he could depute to my branch in my stead, as many employees in our region are on leave because of festivities this week. You are telling me this now? Anyway, I fail to understand how that is my problem, given that my leave was already granted a month ago. Have a discussion with your boss. I called him up. Apparently, HR had already had a talk with him regarding this matter before I even called him. How could you intend to go on leave during this time when we are already under so much pressure due to this sudden staff shortage? On top of that, our company's audit is due next month. But you had already approved my leave 1 month ago. No, I am sure I must have said that I would think about it. Absolutely not. I wouldn't have booked my tickets and planned my travel to my hometown to see my parents if you hadn't confirmed the leave. This went on for a while, and I was exasperated from this argument. By the end, I felt really humiliated that I had to almost beg for a leave. So I said, fine, I won't go. At that point, I arguably felt my dignity was more important than a few days off work. Huh? Okay. He was at a loss for words at my sudden giving up. So my leave stood cancelled. My tickets had to be cancelled. Money wasted. And I was left utterly exhausted by this. A few days later, we got a notification for the yearly interstate staff soccer tournament being arranged by corporate. If selected, I'd be playing for my state. And the tournament, from selections till the final, would go on for a month. Soccer happens to be one of my favorite sports. So guess who just applied and got selected for the state team? Now here's the funny thing about sports and activities that are arranged by our company's corporate center. The top management takes these seasonal events very seriously. If you are a participating employee, nothing or nobody on this planet could make you rather go back to sit on your chair and mind your job instead of participating. So as it appeared, although not on a leave per se, I was all set to go on a month-long tour across the country, playing soccer. without having to worry about managing our branch and getting paid in the process. Even irrespective of my leave fiasco, this was a good thing to get involved in. My boss's office was eventually informed about my participation in the event and was advised to excuse the participant from his duties till the tournament was over. The day before leaving, I drove down to the regional manager's office to formally inform him, from my end, about competing in the event and my ensuing month-long absence that is to be expected. He looked expressionless and just feebly asked me, "Why did you really participate?" Well, you see, had I happened to be at my hometown on a short leave this week, I wouldn't have been able to participate in the tournament at all, or even try for the selections. Said I couldn't go on that leave. That defeated look on his face was priceless. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.